So you want to visit New Zealand, but driving with a rental car is not an option for you. You're not alone. Many travelers worry about winding roads, driving on the left, or the sheer distances. Here's the good news. You can explore the North and South Island without ever touching a steering wheel. That's because coaches, scenic trains, domestic flights and ferries can link it all together. In this video I'll show you how to explore New Zealand in 2 weeks, no car needed. And yes, I'll share a complete North and South Island itinerary that really works. Let's get started. So here's the big picture. You will start in Auckland, travel south through Rotorua, then fly to Christchurch. From here you board the TranzAlpine train, cross to the west coast, then go down the glaciers, head to Queenstown and Fiordland, and then finish back to Auckland. It sounds like a lot, but I'll break it into easy steps so that every connection works smoothly. Now let's quickly break down those transport options in New Zealand. Number one, intercity coaches. These are running between major destinations. They often only have one scheduled departure per day, especially in the South Island. Number two, domestic flights. Air New Zealand connects all major cities. Other regional carriers are Sounds Air, Golden Bay Air or Stewart Island Air. Those flights can massively save you time and money if booked in advance. Number three, train services. New Zealand has only 3 scenic train routes. The TranzAlpine from Christchurch to Greymouth is maybe the most famous one and does make sense to use for travelers wanting to avoid a rental car. Number four, ferry services. The Inter-Islander and the Blue Bridge ferries connect the North and South Island. Another main ferry service is to Stewart Island, but for this sample itinerary we will not use ferry services. I have also done a full video on transport options. Check out the link up here or in the description box below. Now let's get into the itinerary. Many travelers get the ratio from North and South Island wrong, as they tend to split equally between the islands. Big mistake. The South Island needs more time because distances are longer and the scenery is so spectacular. So I believe a good ratio is 1/3 of your time in the North Island and 2/3 of your time in the South Island. So you would arrive into Auckland and have 2 nights in Auckland. You can either use an Uber into the city, it's about 30 minutes drive, or you can do the airporter, which is going from the airport here in the southern part, going right into the city center. My recommendation is you either hang out in the central city or go over to Waiheke Island, which is a food and wine paradise. So you can do day trips, you can walk to the ferry and then head over there. If you are more into nature and the outdoors, you can head over to the west coast beaches, which is Muriwai or 𝗵𝗆 Beach. Again, there are tours available which pick you up from your hotel, so you don't need your own transportation. So now the next day you're heading south. You're going first to the Waitomo caves and then to Rotorua. This is a great option with the Great Sights coach trip. So what they're doing, they have a bus depot in central Auckland and then they're heading down south to Waitomo. It's around about 3 hours, and then in Waitomo you actually do part of that coach trip. You actually do the Waitomo caves tour, and after that takes about hour or 2, depending on what kind of tour you're booked on. But after that you continue to Rotorua, which is really in the heart of the North Island, and stay here for 2 nights centrally, so you don't have to have transportation when you're there, and you can basically go to restaurants and sites locally. So the next day you can either explore Rotorua. I've done a video on things to do, there's heaps to do there, or you could actually do a day trip going towards Lake Taupo. Again, there are tours available. They pick you partly up at the accommodation or the information center, and they also drop in to areas like Waiotapu or the Hooker Falls down here. So it's around about 1 hour 15, 1 hour 30 one way going down. If you find this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button below to stay in touch for more helpful New Zealand videos to come. Also, please tick the like button as it helps our channel to grow. Thank you very much. So after a couple of nights in Rotorua, you take a domestic flight to Christchurch. As you see, there are actually direct flights available, which is very convenient. So it takes about 2 hours, so it's quite a nice flight into Christchurch. From here, from the airport, it's around about 10-15 minutes into the city center. Take an Uber or a shuttle service and stay around the central CBD. And again, I've done a video on that. I'll link it to my things to do playlist in the description box below. So you would have 2 nights in Christchurch. So with your full day in Christchurch, you can either explore the city, you could go over to Akaroa, which is 1.5 hours away by coach. You can pick it up in the city center of Christchurch, very convenient. You can do a dolphin swim there or just a cruise into the harbor there. Or the other popular option is actually to go up here to Kaikoura. It's around about 2.5 hour drive one way to do the whale watch. Obviously, Kaikoura is famous for that. So these are some key options you can pursue when you have your full day here in Christchurch. The other one obviously is stay central and explore the city. I've done another video on Christchurch with the things to do. Now, the next day you're heading over to the west coast, and this one is with a TranzAlpine train from Christchurch to Greymouth. The whole thing takes around about 5 hours or so. Departing is normally about 8:15 in the morning, so you make your way to the Eddington railway station and then head over to Greymouth, and you would arrive around about 1:15 at the Greymouth railway station. And from here, there's actually a coach going down to Franz Josef. So here's now the distance from Greymouth down to Franz Josef, where the glaciers are. So this is a perfect sample where you can connect the train ride with your coach service. The coach will also stop along the way, like places like 𝗥𝗏𝗃𝗃 and Ross, depending on the day, but you would arrive in the late afternoon into Franz Josef. I will have the times in the planning sheet, which you can download in the description box below. Now you will have a couple of nights in Franz Josef. As you see, I really recommend you, especially when traveling with public transport, to have a couple of nights. So you can either do here, go into the local walks, go into the glaciers, or even if possible, if you want to do that, there's a possibility to head over to the 𝗥𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 lagoon. There's a local operator doing kayaking tours into that place. There's also a kiwi night watching tour during the summer season. So there are really cool activities around the Franz Josef area. That's the reason we have you there for 2 nights. So the next day you're heading further south. This is a longer one. You will use the coach in the morning. Departs around about 8 o'clock in the morning from Franz Josef and goes down this beautiful west coast, stopping along the way on beaches, stopping in Haast here, going over Haast Pass. It's a stunning scenery. It's the change between the west coast, which is very lush and green, and here the eastern part, the Otago area, which is without trees, more or less. And you will arrive into Queenstown, which is here the hub, the tourism hub here in the South Island. You would have 3 nights because there's really so much to do and to explore. You can go up here into the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 area. You can do farm tours. You can do a number of things. You can go to Arrowtown. You can do wine tasting. So there's a lot of things to do. So you would have 2 full days in the Queenstown region. Again, I've done a full video on Queenstown things to do, so please check that out in the things to do playlist in the description box below. So the next day, after your 3 nights or 2 full days in Queenstown, you head over to the Fiordland region here to Te Anau. So quick note, if you're more into hiking and scenery and less the cities, you might want to change to 2 nights in Queenstown and 3 nights in Te Anau. There are lots of local walks here. The Kepler track, it's beautiful, can be done as a day hike. Lake Manapuri, there's some stunning walks. Te Anau is known as the hiking capital of New Zealand. So you would have either 2 nights or 3 nights, whatever you want. Important here to know regarding the transportation, there's a local operator called TrackNet. So Intercity does not serve this part between Queenstown and Te Anau, so you would use TrackNet. I'll put the link in the description box below as well for you. So the next day you would head into Milford Sound, which is one of the iconic sites here in New Zealand. The drive is around about 2 hours and a bit, so my recommendation is to use a local operator called Trips and Tramps. They're running smaller scale tours, so they have about 10-12 people in their van, and they do stops along the way. Again, they do actually pick up from hotels in the village, so this is very convenient for you if you don't have your own transportation. And once in Milford, you could do two options. You could do just the cruise into Milford Sound. That is a beautiful experience, but also you see this dotted line here. This is the Milford track, and what they can do, they actually do a water taxi into the Milford track, and then you'd have a really leisurely 3-hour walk to the giant gates and back, and we'll do the cruise in the afternoon. So that's my recommendation. If you're into hiking, do the combination with Milford Sound cruise and do the Milford guided day walk. If you have some spare time, there are also caves in that area. So we have the Te Anau caves, which are located over here. Then there's a really cool cruise going over with a little boat, actually historic boat, to the Hidden Lakes, which is this area just across Te Anau. I highly recommend those kinds of experiences by local operator, very small scale. And you basically, if you're located right in the village, you can walk down to the wharf, and it's very, very easy. Also, restaurants are close by, and this is it's my most favorite place here in New Zealand, especially if you're into nature and the outdoors. Right after your time in Te Anau, you head back to Queenstown Airport. There's a morning coach with TrackNet. I will mention it again in the spreadsheet with the plan. They drop you off at the airport, and then you actually take a domestic flight back to Auckland. It's about 2-hour flight in a jet, and then you obviously can connect later on in the day or in the evening with your international flights. So here's the secret. Every single connection I've mentioned runs daily, and they're designed to work nicely together. See the full details in the free sample itinerary PDF to download and the planning spreadsheet attached with it. Also, check out this Things to Do playlist showing you what to do at each location. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next video.